Hey everybody, Math Day 92 with Grandma. Here's our poem and riddle about doing math times 4. 4 eyes. So people that wear glasses, they joke about instead of having 2 eyes, that my extra glass part counts as 2 more. And I've got 4 eyes. 1, 2, 3, 4. So they're showing pairs of glasses. 4 eyes. 4 is very fast to do when you multiply by 2. Here's a little good advice. Please just always double twice. 4 plus, what's 4 times 4? It's 4 doubled twice. Double once, 4 plus 4 is 8. Double twice, 8 plus 8 is 16. What is 4 times 7? Well, it's 7 doubled twice. Double once, 7 plus 7 is 14. 14 plus 14 is 28. 4 eyes. Cumference and the Roundabout battle. Rounding numbers. Rounding numbers is close to when we talked about estimating, making a good guess as to how much something is. It's about the number. I don't have to be too precise sometimes. It's like, about how many people are coming? About 100? 95. Oh, that is almost 100. That's only 5 short. I'll guess 100. Cumference and the Roundabout Battle by Cindy Neuschwander, illustrated by Wayne Geehan. Another great harvest day. But wait, who's that? Asked Edmund Rounds, the castle steward. He pointed to a few small tents just visible among the trees. Oh, it's probably travelers bedding down for the night, answered Cumference. Just then the steward's son bounded up the stairway. Ah, Rounds too. Keeping track of everything in the castle? Asked Cumference with a smile. The boy nodded, and everybody called him Rounds too, since he and his father were both named Edmund. Papa, I finished the count you asked for, he said, handing his father 2 scrolls. As the castle's next steward, Round 2 was his father's assistant. Wonderful, exclaimed Steward Rounds. Let's look at these over supper. Steward Rounds studied his son's count. He said. Breads, 34 wheat loaves, 29 barley, 25 rye. But the total is missing. Totals are important. I love counting, but adding up is always hard for me, Rounds 2 confessed. Well, let me help you, his father said kindly. It's 34 plus 29 plus 25, which equals 88 loaves. And butter, 10 garlic pots, 20 salted pots, 30 herb pots, plus 40 sweet pots. 100 pots, Round called out quickly. It's easy when the numbers are groups of 10. Yes, the steward agreed. Adding by tens is quite friendly, but most counts are more complicated. As stewards, it's our job to know how much of everything we have in the castle we won't run out. For example, there are travelers in our woods tonight who might need breakfast tomorrow. But let's go back to our numbers. Next, the steward said, are the bees and their little homes, the skeps. There are 39 skeps and... Round 2 interrupted. The beekeeper said each skep housed about 1,000 bees, but he said not to touch the skeps. The bees can get angry. Bees are difficult to count, Steward's Round nodded. Sometimes knowing approximately how many is fine. But let's finish this up tomorrow, he added, noticing his son's stifling yawn. First, off to bed now. Honey, sweet dreams. As he nodded off to sleep, Rounds 2 decided that he would thank his father for his help by rising early to count the travelers. Then he would know how much food might be needed. But before dawn, he slipped out of bed, tiptoed through the kitchens, and crept out a secret door in the castle wall. As he entered the woods, he heard deep snoring. Everyone is asleep. He counted 40 men by an old log. Another 50 were near a campfire, and a group of 60 were stretched out under a massive oak tree. That's 150 men, thought Rounds 2. Why so many? Then he noticed a large banner with a distinctive insignia. He also noted the tiny tents were full of bows and arrows. Uh-oh, he thought, and he sprinted back to the castle. Papa, he gasped, shaking his father's shoulder urgently. The travelers in the woods. They have a banner of two hands clutching a chest of treasure. Isn't that... Stewart Rounds sat up, rubbing the sleep out of his eye. He asked Rounds too to repeat himself. Then he leapt out of bed and grabbed his son's hand. Stewart Round raced to the castle, making his way to Sir Cumference and Lady Di's bedchamber. Travelers in the woods. There's Sir Wantsalot's crew, Stewart Round said. Sir Cumference was up in a flash. Prepare to protect the castle, he ordered. Rounds 2, fetch the bow and arrow, counts, while your father and I organize the archers. Rounds 2 raced to the steward's room and grabbed the counting scrolls, but they stopped the totals. Although Rounds 2 had made the weapons count, he had not added them up. Rounds 2 rushed to the artiller's room, seeking his father's help, but everyone had already left. He decided he must do the adding. Looks pretty nervous there. He thought back to the counts of the day before. Why can't the number of bows and arrows be friendly tens like the butter, or approximate numbers like the bees, instead of hard to add numbers like the loaves? Rounds 2 closed his eyes and tried to think. When he opened them, he saw a measuring tape curled in among the arrowheads, feathers, and string. It was lined with numbers beginning at 0 and ending in 100. Rounds 2 grabbed the measuring tape and started using it to change yesterday's counts of the loaves, breads, into their nearest friendly tens. Would the approximate number be close to the actual total? He took an arrowhead and placed it on 34 to mark the wheat bread. He could see that the arrowhead was nearest to the friendly number 30. He then moved the arrowhead to 29, the number of barley loaves. It was also near 30. Finally, he located 25 for the rye bread. That was a problem. It's smack in the middle between the friendly 20 and the friendly 30, he thought. Well, the top line of the number 5 seems to point towards the next 10, so I'll make it bigger. 30 it is. Rounds easily added 30 plus 30 plus 30. Well, that's 90, and it's very close to the 88 bread loaves that Papa added up yesterday at supper, he noted happily. Rounds decided to add the archery counts in this fast, newer, and nearly accurate way. He looked at the list. Longbows, 47. That's about 50, he thought. Crossbows, 1 dozen. That's 12, so that makes it a friendly 10. Shortbows, 36, are about 40. So 40 plus 10 plus 40 is 100 bows. Now for arrows. There are 77 large bodkins. That's about 80. And 23 medium ones would be about 20. And 98 small ones. Oh, that's closest 10 to 98 is 100. So 80 plus 20 plus 100 is 200 arrows. He'd done it very quickly. He looked at his list with satisfaction before sprinting to the main guard tower. They attack, announced Sir Cumference grimly. Here, said Rounds 2 breathlessly, handing the list to his father, who passed it to Sir Cumference. Sir Cumference and Stewart Rounds studied the scroll. We don't have very many arrows, said a knight with a worried look on his face. Sir Wantsalot and his men took aim. Slender shafts streaked overhead. A castle guard peered through an arrow slit. They're busy as bees down there. Busy as bees? Thought Round 2. That gave him an idea. He rushed to the rampart, shook the steps, and pushed them over the edge of the wall. What's in the steps? Bees. What do bees get when they get pushed around? Pretty smart weapon. Bees, go berserk, he commanded. And as each of the 39 steps crashed to the ground, 1,000 bees, more or less, angrily swarmed out and stung the invaders. Sir Wantsalot and his men sprinted away, never to return. That's a lot of bees, exclaimed Cumference. Close to 40,000, said Rounds, helpfully. Huzzah, cried everybody. Huzzah for Rounds, too. Bzzah is more like it, said Cumference, with a very hearty laugh. Rounds 2 continued to use his method of finding friendly tens when he was adding up the daily castle counts. He discovered that taking exact numbers and making them a little less exact gave him the time to count and total more each day. As a result, he and his father ran the castle more efficiently. The steward named it in the Rounds 2 method. Today we still use Rounds 2's idea. When we speak of numbers and its closest round approximation, we say it rounds to that friendly number. Cumference and the Roundabout Battle.